marginal because Obama had been in office a year at that point, and obviously a lot of the liberals had abandoned politics, and it was at a time when a lot of people, when it seemed to me like a lot of people my age were still apathetic, and that's what one thing I think a lot of people don't really realize now about Occupy is just how revolutionary it felt at the time. I mean, I feel like that was, like you said, a moment that the Bernie campaign wouldn't have happened without it, in a sense, because just right then I noticed that a lot of people were newly politicized and were talking about issues that really hadn't before.
Well, yeah, anytime a movement spreads around the entire nation, I mean, it's pretty exciting. I remember seeing like Oakland's version of Occupy being very like fiery, and me being very impressed with them. I think I kind of started falling in love with the idea of checking out Oakland back in those days. But it was really exciting. I remember Buffalo had an Occupy, and some of the Occupies were like really small, you know, compared to some of the other ones. But the fact that they were all active throughout the country, and the fact that people were encamped out there and taking up space, and it wasn't just a one-day march, but it was like this elongated thing, was amazing. And the fact that we got our idea from like the Arab Spring and seeing that documentary was pretty incredible.
Yeah, definitely. It was really amazing in that sense. And I do remember that. It seemed like at one point there was a mini Occupy in every town, and that's partly where I started to realize people were becoming political that weren't previously. Like I remember seeing an old friend from high school that had started an Occupy Norwalk page, and I was thinking to myself, this is amazing, because I was flashing back to when I was politically aware in high school, and would get into I at one point I shouted "No blood for oil" at a military recruiter, and kids would just laugh at me. They were just indifferent. So to see that kids in my hometown were all of a sudden becoming aware of how much the system was screwing them, that really was heartening to me.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And then, so what was that? 2011, right? Was that Occupy?
Yeah, it started when like September to November was like the initial run before they broke them all up.
And when were you at Nightberg?
Summer of 2012.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then this year, seeing, you know, what happened across the country and across the world was pretty amazing, with all the uprisings that happened. And then we got to see people take sides, and like, you know, some folks that we didn't necessarily expect to kind of fall into the old, you know, I agree with what they're doing, except for the rioting and all of that stuff. Kind of like showed people that this is what revolutions or uprisings look like, right? They're not going to be pretty, and they're certainly not going to adhere to some, you know, step-by-step standard that someone's gonna lay out and expect like peaceful, you know, pretty things to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you actually take politics seriously and you're fighting against an existing system that you view to be unjust, then you're not always going to play by the system's rules. And it's really naive of people to just expect that that things are always going to be peaceful, and that there aren't going to ever be disruptions. Like you might be late for work sometimes because of a protest. It might get ugly sometimes, but the very system itself is ugly. And I just think there's such a selfishness about people who care more about whether they're inconvenienced or not than whether there's injustice going on that people are trying to fight against.
Yeah, or people more concerned with property over people and people's lives.
Yeah, it's really disgusting, and I do wish, I do feel like if there was more solidarity in this country, if we could get people to either stay home from work one day or multiple days or march on Washington, we could have a potential impact. Like if you could get millions of people in the streets, we could make change. I mean, so many people just have a difficult time of conceiving of any other system than the U.S. government as it currently exists. I mean, they forget that so many governments have just fallen largely as the result of people power. I mean, I've heard people talk about how when like the East German government collapsed, like it just happened all at once, and they wouldn't have expected it even a week earlier.
True. All right. Well, I think I'm going to cut out for now. Right. But that was great. And yeah, let me know what your schedule is like for the rest of the week, and we can reconnect. I know that right now Sam is talking about doing, the Friday thing. So that might be probably Emily too, and I don't know how big that's going to be. It hasn't been large as of late, so I probably wouldn't expect more than those two.
Okay, I'll be around, so I'll definitely jump in for that.
Okay, all right, cool. And yeah, I'll see if I can get KD. And then as far as anyone else, I won't hold my breath, but I can put some feelers out there too.
Yeah, we'll try to get as much of the band together as we can.
All right, cool. Well, right. That wraps it up for another episode of Let's Get Serious.
Indeed.
With Joey Melkerin. Thanks for joining. And I'm Flavius Maximus.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night. Solidarity, everyone.
All right. Solidarity forever. Peace.
Peace.